What's up, y'all? Come on in here. Come on in, my friend. What's up, Sonya? Come on in, folks. Let's talk some music. Let's talk some music. What's up, y'all? What's up, Brooke? What's up, everybody? Rashawn Green up in this bitch. What's up, Tim? Number one. Yeah, we're gonna talk. This is something that I wanted to talk about earlier this week, but other stuff kept coming up, so I didn't talk about it. This past Sunday, last Sunday, I was at Reggae Fest at the Hollywood Bowl. I was at the Hollywood Bowl last Sunday for the Reggae Fest, and y'all know I like going. One of my main reasons why I'm at the Hollywood Bowl all summer, and my wife and I have been going to the Hollywood Bowl at least 6 or 7 times a summer for 20 years, since 2000. Well, not 20 years, since like 03, 04. And sometimes I'm at the Hollywood Bowl upwards of 15 times in the summer. Because the Hollywood Bowl, I use that venue to curate artists from around the world. And I'll go so far as to say, if I go to the Hollywood Bowl 10 times in the summer, usually at least 5 of those shows, at least 5, usually 5 to 6 of those shows are going to be artists that I don't traditionally listen to, in genres I don't traditionally listen to. I go to Reggae Fest at the Bowl. I go to see classical. I go to Latin night to hear who's trending around the world. I go to world music night just so I can see what's going on in music and hear what's going on, because the live is the truth. And I have a few other things like that around LA, Catalina Bar and Grill, LACMA Jazz on Saturdays and Fridays, really Saturdays. It's a few places around LA where I can go and I know I can hear some other kind of music than what I would normally listen to when I'm on my in my iTunes. So when I was at the Reggae Fest this past Sunday, I heard something. And I actually want to talk to y'all about this last year, because last year at the Hollywood Bowl, I saw this Jamaican act named Muskego. I don't know if y'all know who he is. Jamaican dude named Muskego. And I only know he's Jamaican because he made sure to put a Jamaican flag on stage while he performed. And this past Sunday, I saw this reggae act. They were from like the South Pacific, like Tongan or Samoan, and they were from here. Now they were from Compton. I forgot the name of the group, but they were pretty good. They were pretty good. And I heard the same thing when I heard Masego and these guys. Masego's cool, but before you say Masego's the truth, brother Tim, let me put you up on something. Yeah, he said one of his parents is from Newport News. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, I know. But I'm just talking about the reason why I said he's Jamaican is because on stage he has a Jamaican flag, not an American flag. Okay, that's why I said he's Jamaican, because That's the flag that he chooses to put on stage when he performs. So what? Ugh. Let me community mode subscribers only. There we go. So what they do is they take a lot of our music and they integrate those lines within their solos and within their acts. And this is what Masego does. Appreciate that, Rashawn. This is what Masego does. He plays a lot of Cab Calloway. A lot of the music, when you listen to it close enough, even though the song may sound original, Masego, what he does in one song, he'll have a Cab Calloway part, and then he'll bust into some Count Basie, and then he'll bust into some, I don't know, Public Enemy. And what they do is they take a lot of riffs that have been played, and those riffs become the song. And the same thing with one of those reggae acts I saw this past Sunday. I've been seeing that in reggae too. But that goes back to Bob Marley and the Wailers. Jamaican music has always been a riff off what's happening here in America. Always. Going back to its inception. Not native Jamaican music, not soca, not native Jamaican music. I'm talking about like ska, rocksteady, reggae, reggaeton, dancehall. They've always survived off of copycatting what we do. That's then and that's now. Let me give you an example. I wish I recorded it. But this past Sunday, this dude, there was a saxophone, there was like this reggae song they were playing, and then they brought somebody out to do a saxophone solo. But when he did his saxophone solo, the dude basically played My from Johnny Gill, and that was the saxophone part in the song. And within the reggae song, they were playing like a remix of like Guy and early 90s R&B. A lot of this newer reggae I've been hearing, you could tell these young cats in their 20s and 30s grew up and their parents were listening to SWV, Johnny Gill, and that was the sound in their home, along with their native music or island music. So what we're seeing now is a fusion of original island tunes with 90s rhythm and blues. No different than K-pop. What's up, Jeff Brown? Hey, man, Jeff Brown, I appreciate your post you put up on Facebook. Appreciate that, Mogul Maze. I'm going to get right back. Appreciate the super chat. Much appreciation. I'm going to get back to it. But Jeff Brown, the homie Reggie, rest in peace again, Reggie Carroll, man. Reggie Carroll passed away. And I still don't know the full circumstances, but on social media, a lot of comics it's been real hush-hush on what happened. And Jeff Brown was like, hold on. Somebody need to tell me something. He's Jeff Brown like, dude, y'all ain't about to be secretive with me. But you're right about that mogul maze. Even in the early 70s, slipping into darkness, get up, stand up, same shit. What's up, DSM? I'm gonna sit down and hope that don't know goddamn skunk come. Let's pray that I don't get skunked. But we gotta realize this is the fabric of their music. And I'm not complaining. Let's make it very clear. This isn't a complaint. It's just something I'm pointing out because our cultural impact as a people is everywhere, right in front of us all the time. We just don't recognize it. Because we very rarely take time to really sit back and cherish what we bring and what we do. People remix what we create and hand it right back to us, and oftentimes we're oblivious. And it needs to be the same people, and I'm not saying this from Sego or any of these other guys, I'm not putting it on any of these people, but we'll sit there and we'll hear these people overall, and I'm not talking about anyone, make it very clear, but we'll hear these people tell us we don't have any culture. Busta Rhymes. I hear you, Rashawn. We hear people, we get told, like I was listening to my man Star Report today, salute the Star. And for those of you, press number 1 if you listen to the Star Report. That's real talk, Jeff Brown. Press 1 if you listen to Star Report. Star always has this one white boy that calls in named Rory. Y'all know who Rory is that calls in the Star Report, right? I was listening to Rory today on Star Report talk about, because they're talking about Trump. And I listened to Rory talk about how black people don't have any culture and how where we live is nothing but the ghetto. And we brought these ghettos and we only have anything substantive when white people are around. And he was just going in. But this is a white boy whose favorite sport is basketball. He calls himself the white Denzel. He beat me to a Maroon Radio. He calls himself the white Denzel, a black person. His favorite music is black. He pays attention to black sports. Stars obviously a black person and their friends. And there's just this sense of superiority over black. But everything interesting about the guy is black. He talks about dating black women. And today when he was talking on the show, he was talking about ghettos, not even aware that ghettos are a European thing, not black thing. Who's this Afro beats playing motherfucker, man? If you don't get out my goddamn alley playing that bullshit, I feel musty listening to that music going by. Ooh, shit. Make sure I ain't musty. All right. But Roy is a racist-ass Irish that everything about him is black. Star is a black show. Most of the listeners are black. Everything about the guy is black. You know what I mean? He said I need that root word. But the way he talks about black people is so dehumanizing. Like, I was this close to calling into the Star Report today to check him, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. I was this close to calling in, because usually when I call in, Star picks right up when I call into that show. I was this close to calling in today, but I dance circles around that boy, so I let him have it. That's unfair, me talking to that boy. But I was just really seeing the sickness that is America. I was seeing this. That to me, it just highlighted the sickness of this country. How we are so marginalized as a people. But everything everybody does, they can't do it without us. I was listening to some classical, some more newer classical recently. I went to a concert. I went to a show. I think it was when I went to go see the Looney Tunes live, and there was a big 100-piece orchestra up there. The newer orchestras now have drum sets. Drum sets are American, black. Now, classical, quote unquote, European orchestra chamber music is adopting the drum set. Like I've told you guys before, anytime you see a drum set or you hear an electronic drums that's mimicking a drum set, you're dealing with complete black American invention. And if you notice, every form of music you hear around the world, when you go to a live concert, what are you going to see? All the popular music. Salute to the new Remy LeBeau. But anytime you see a drum set, you see black American. Anytime you see a bass guitar, an electric bass, it's black American. And everywhere you look, whether it be reggaeton, whether it be in Mexican music that all that shit. They all got drum sets now. They all play with a bass guitar. They all play with a lead guitar or a keyboard. Anytime you see drums, bass, keys, that's us. See, sometimes you got to break things down to the lowest common denominator. Not sometimes, all the time. That's what they teach us in math, right? What's up, Manosphere? Chat room, am I right? What's up, Noah Randall? Am I right, chat room? We all took math. What do they tell us in math? You reduce your fractions to the least common denominator, right? The least common denominator, you break it all down. You don't finish an equation with 2/4. You break it down to 1/2. You don't say this is 8/16. No, it's 1/2. You don't say this is. That's how they confuse us. They put everything. They'll show you an equation, and say, hey, look, this is 5/15, and you'll be confused because you're all up in that. But if I show you 5/15, you see a bunch of other stuff too. If I show you 200 over 440, it gets lost in the shuffle. If I put it out there and this is 30/60, it gets lost in the shuffle. But when I break it down to 1/2, what's the thing that you see the most? You see a drum set, you see a bass, guitar, electric bass, and keyboard and guitar, not banjo. See, when it comes to guitar, every culture has their indigenous guitars. You know what I mean? It's just a string. Plucking a string is as natural as hitting a wall. That's a drum. All instruments are sonic interpretations of what's around us. And that's what percussions are. Percussions are things that you hit. Guitars are percussion. Pianos are percussion. And every group that has music has their own guitars. And the guitar reflects the sound of their environment. Well, when you look around the world, a lot of places don't play their native guitars. They're playing a Fender, an Ibanez, a Yamaha, which are all electric interpretations of what Bo Diddley created in his garage. Americans were the first, white and black, to plug in a guitar to an amp. That's an American thing. And even instruments like, say, the bass guitar. The bass guitar was invented by a white man. But like always, they put those instruments in the hands of a black musician to show the world how to play said instrument. Same thing with the drum machine, with the vocoder, with the 808. We didn't invent none of those instruments. But we were the mold as to how those instruments were played. We didn't invent the saxophone. That was invented in Europe in 1859. But Coleman Hawkins and Charlie Parker and Lester Young showed the world and created the mold as to how the saxophone would be played as a featured instrument. Before Charlie Parker, the saxophone was a band instrument. It played in the band. It played in harmony with the other horns, but it was not featured. It was not a front instrument until Coleman Hawkins and Bird. We made it a featured instrument. Real talk, Jeff. So when you look around the world and you see and listen to the music that's being played, when you see somebody step out and do a saxophone solo, understand that instrument was around for 80 years before anybody cared about a saxophone solo. It wasn't until the sax was brought into the big band of jazz that it became an instrument that was featured sometimes in solos. He said, Bishop Watson gave you a trombone? That's what's up. When people play the guitar, they're trying to sound like Muddy Waters. They're trying to sound like John Lee Hooker. They're trying to sound like Rosetta Tharpe. They're trying to sound like Hendrix. They're trying to sound like Prince. Okay? Even if they're trying to sound like Van Halen was trying to sound like Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker. Even if they're trying to sound like Slash, who's black, by the way, Slash was trying to sound like Hendrix. Even if they're trying to sound like Santana was trying to sound like Howlin' Wolf. Do y'all see how it goes? You said, what age should you get your kids playing music instruments? As soon as possible. Kids can start learning instruments as early as 2 and 3 years old, early as possible. Put all them instruments in front of them, see which one they like the most. Yeah, they are trying to sound like B.B. King. For sure. I have a music course on my website right now that's for kids. That's centered towards the youth. So if you have any youth in the youth, I have a 4-part music course that's youth oriented. Make sure y'all go and buy that off my website right now, DewanB.com. Yeah, Curtis Mayfield on guitar. Hell, Bobby Womack on the guitar. Bobby Womack played the guitar on so many studio songs that y'all don't even know. Isaac Hayes on the guitar. Like, go down the line. What's up, Kendall? Hold on. Text message off. I had to send a text message off. Ernie Isley. Like, you can go down the line. Go down the line. So, remember, the reason why I have these conversations is because we get so much negative stuff thrown at us. The mental side is real. The mental side is real. So we have to be constantly reinforced of the greatness. And there go Kendall. I was talking about Kendall early on the show earlier this morning. And I was talking about, if y'all watched my show this morning, that's the Kendall I was talking about when it came to having your mind, getting and seeking therapy and help. She's great at that. So there are too many names. Like, as much as I study music, we have black folks. We got so many names. Take my classes and go. Join my Patreon. Join my Patreon. My Patreon is a music university. It's so much on Patreon, from playlist to music history courses. If you join my Patreon now, it will take you about a month, maybe 2 months. If you watched every day, it'll take you about 2 months to get through the music history that I have up on Patreon right now. See my Patreon as a university. It's all backlogged. And I'm constantly putting new stuff up. Like this past Sunday, I did a very detailed show on how the blues became hip hop. So y'all need to go to my Patreon. Everything I talk about on here, on my Patreon, I go in depth and I prove it with music. My Patreon is a YouTube university, is a music university. It's very cheap for what I offer you guys on Patreon. But I mean, it's so many names. Little Walter. Like, I was just watching. It's a great documentary right now on Amazon on Wayne Shorter. It's a 3-part documentary on Wayne Shorter. For sure, Felix Speaks. It's a 3-part documentary on Wayne Shorter, and man, I'm thankful that I saw that man live every time he came to LA the last 15 years of his life. Again, going to the Hollywood Bowl. He'd be at the Hollywood Bowl regularly with Herbie Hancock, and I would always see him. Rest in peace, Wayne Shorter. But if you look on Apple Music now has a classical app. And they have Wayne Shorter in the classical side, alongside Bach and Beethoven and those guys. We have so many. Herbie Hancock. I mean, and really, and the names you guys don't know. Joe Sample, and you know, you got people like Greg Fillinganes. Greg Fillinganes is still alive. He's the most recorded artist in music history. We don't understand how great Greg Fillinganes is. We got people like, on top of Greg Fillinganes, you got people like George Duke and Patrice Rushen, Charles Mingus, so many. Because the greatest musicians usually are back in the studio. They ain't on the they facing out there. Hey, I'm a how long you gonna be up?
I'll be up. I still gotta get the blankets for you.
All right, when I'm done with this live, I'll bring them down here.
Okay.
All right. What's up, Star? It's always good when Star joins us. The most recorded artist, I'm sorry, artist, musician. The musicians are more, it'd be the same musicians recording for everybody. The most recorded musician is Greg Fillinganes. Greg Fillinganes and Greg Fillinganes became the most recorded musician of all time, like 10 years ago. He played with Michael Jackson. If you ever watch Michael Jackson, The Bad Tour, the guy on keyboard, mouse, that's Greg Fillinganes. If you ever watch The Bad Tour, Greg Fillinganes wrote Can't Help It by Stevie Wonder. I mean, not he wrote it. He reproduced it for Michael Jackson. It was written by Stevie Wonder. He reproduced it for Michael Jackson. I mean, the great ones don't really go on. Honestly, the great ones go unnamed. DJ Rogers. DJ Rogers is extremely important, especially for the LA sound and the gospel that he brought. You know, Leon Haywood, so important to music. Leon Silver. You say, remember DJ Rogers? Yeah, DJ Rogers is cold. And these influences spread around the world. They're all integrated. Like I said, if you listen to, when I was at Reggae Fest, all this new reggae, everything got something from the 90s in it. Teddy Riley, it's gonna be some Teddy Riley production, it's gonna be some R. Kelly, it's gonna be some Rodney Jerkins, it's gonna be some Dr. Dre. All these cats in this new reggae. I'm like, dog, every song I listen to, like, it was somebody when I was at that show this past Sunday. It was somebody. They be in the chat. I didn't know their real name, and he said he be in the chat, but I've seen him around. He came and sat near us for a little bit, and he was talking about how great the people on stage were, and they did sound good. They did sound good, but every single song was something from the 90s. Every song. Even when I was watching Damian Marley, even when the Marleys got on stage, they were just playing a lot of stuff from the 70s. A lot of their music was remixes from the 70s and the 80s. Even if you listen to country music now, country music is trap. That nigga said it's a new reggae. Yeah. These particular new reggae artists was actually from the South Pacific. These guys were like from, they were from Compton, but they were Samoans from Compton. People from islands love reggae. That's island music. That's why Bob Marley goes so far around the world. If you live in an island environment, you're gonna like reggae. It has the chords for islands. The reggae music sounds like water and trees. See, music takes on colors too. And reggae is very green and yellow. Very green. Very yellow. It's tropical, it's warm. The warmth of that music is set to the island tropical environments. So if you live in an island tropical environment, reggae is an island twist on rhythm and blues. Reggae music is an island twist on rhythm and blues. Jamaicans were the first ones to crack the code. So now you got people from islands all around the world in tropical environments playing reggae. If not island and also tropical environments. Your country music is trap now. A lot of your newer country, I'm talking about for the last 8 or 9 years, the new country music is trap beats. The popular stuff. Country don't play. Look, let me break down to y'all the formula of how they steal from us. When we get hot, when we have something that's hot, everybody imitates it, growing up as children. So when they become the next producers, the next musicians, the next singers, they're going to recreate what they understood and learned growing up. And so if we go back to the 60s, the European invasion with the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all those guys, what did they grow up listening to? They, whenever they could, whenever some American records got over there, they were listening to Little Richard. And Europe tried their best. Like, America hit this stuff. A major reason why Europe outdid the white in America is because while America was playing race games and really not even bringing Chuck Berry and people like that into their music into the stores, in Europe, in the record stores, they were less prejudiced about putting black Americans in their record stores over in Europe than they were here in America. They were still very racist. I'm not saying that they weren't racist, but they were less racist about black music in Europe than they were here in America. So when Chuck Berry got over there, all of that European invasion was 50s blues music from Chess Records. And the reason why they all imitated Chess Records is because Mr. Chess worked out a deal with a distributor in England and Ireland. And so Chess Records had a subsidiary over in Europe. So Chess Records had access to the European market. And when those Europeans heard Chess Records, they no longer wanted to sound like the other Europeans. They didn't want to sound like the Europeans that their parents grew up on, and the Europeans that you heard in traditional European music. They wanted to sound like Howlin' Wolf. They wanted to sound like Bo Diddley. That's why Chess Records is such a major impact on the music, because they were able to get distribution in Europe when a lot of other labels that did blues music, they didn't get distribution in Europe. So that was the sound of the 60s. Well, question: why did that sound change in the 80s? I'm sorry, 70s. Well, the reason why the Beatles sort of faded out and you get this new sound, you know, Aerosmith. I mean, you get the Black Sabbath, and you get this more hardcore sound. Well, you get that more hardcore sound because Jimi Hendrix is who really unlocked that loud, hardcore guitar sound. John Lee Hooker laid the blueprint. John Lee Hooker laid the blueprint. John Lee Hooker laid the blueprint for that very heavy electric sound. But it was Jimmy who really unlocked it. Led Zeppelin was trying to sound like John Lee Hooker. Make that very clear. But don't get it twisted. Albert King was just as great of a guitarist as the rest of those guys. It's just that Albert King and people like Rufus Thomas was another one that was great. Rufus rapped, played the guitar, and sang the blues. Rufus Thomas. It's just that Rufus stayed in Memphis. He didn't go up to Chess. If Rufus Thomas was on Chess up there putting music out, yeah, y'all would call his name out more, but he was just as strong as the guys that you sang. So the sound for white America changed in the 70s because Jimi Hendrix unlocked something for black and white musicians. Jimmy was just playing Muddy Waters Blues Lift too, because Jimmy was heavily influenced by Muddy. Heavily. But he just had a louder amp. Jimmy was playing Muddy just with a louder amp, and he unlocked the key. And when he unlocked the key, that inspired those 70s rock that inspired your Ozzy Osbournes, and those guys. And Funkadelic was out rocking all of them, but the music industry stopped Funkadelic from making that sound, and they basically forced Funkadelic to only do funk. But if you listen to early 70s Funkadelic, they were at the forefront of the heavy metal sound. Funkadelic. Eddie Hazel. Free your mind and your ass will follow, for the kingdom of heaven is within. Love that song. America Eats His Young, all that stuff. They were very, 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 very much so a heavy metal band in the early 70s, experimenting. So, again, their sound came off of the heels of a black sound. The so-called Seattle sound was popular in the early 90s. The grunge sound came in. Well, who started the grunge sound? Tina Bell, a black woman. Now, look at house music. House music is the music of the world now. House music is, if we're gonna tell the truth, yeah, hip hop was going worldwide, but I would go so far as say house music has gone further. And the reason why I'll say that is because house music DJs get paid more than your best known rappers for a show. House DJs, I know there's one house DJ that gets $1 million a set every night. Every night he pulls his laptop and his turntables out, he's getting $1 million. I know other house DJs, every time they pull their shit out, 50 grand a night. It's a lot of house DJs getting 50, 60, 70, 100 grand a night. And your black ass don't even know their name. And house is based off of disco. Out of disco, it was the person that created the house slash electro slash dance slash rave slash Eurobeat. He's still alive. Like we talk about James Clyde Stubblefield for funk, but the house beat is Earl Young out of Philadelphia International. Earl Young is still alive. The man that created that beat, the pulsating. That song, "The Love I Lost" by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, was the first time that beat was recorded. The first time that beat, 4 on the floor, raised hi-hat, that was on "The Love I Lost" by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and the drummer was Earl Young. He's still alive. We were doing house in the 80s, early 70s. Everybody dance now. Down, 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 down. Martha Wash. But it's all them, and it's around the world. But I need people to know, hey, look, we got to know, we got to claim that. You write this great drug music, Felix Speaks. Shit, you ain't lying right there. Them drug addicts, I smoke weed and drink a little bit. I don't do drugs. If you do drugs, house music is your shit. I don't do drugs. I smoke weed. But all of those house and house music derivatives, again, we got to break things down to the least common denominator. Whether it be house, Eurobeat, world beat, EDM, electronica, that's all house, okay? And we have to be the ones that stand on that, black people. Please don't let me be the only one doing this. I talk to throw talking points out there. Anytime you hear that, that's your black ass beat. No matter what color the people are dancing to it. We have to own that. I don't listen to that kind of music. It's fucking annoying to me after a while. But guess what? I got annoying cousins. They still my cousins. Just because I don't like some of my cousins don't mean they ain't family. I don't like house music, but it's still my family. House music makes my balls itch. I don't like it. To me, it's like, and I'll never say this to a Chicago nigga, because it's Chicago, the house is y'all sound. Detroit and all that. But out here on the West, man, if you from LA, when you from LA, man, house music is sissy music. Man, that's why the gay folks go dance. I ain't going to that party. I'm gonna let them live in their world. Y'all go ahead. I'll be over here. I'll be on my steps smoking a joint. Yeah. My wife and one of my friends, I'll be with her tomorrow. One of my cool friends, she's cool with my wife. She had a birthday party last week, and that birthday party was at the Abbey. That's like a gay club on Santa Monica. They have like a drag show on Sundays, and she had her birthday party at the drag show, and she wanted me to drag along, and I was like, nope. I told my wife, you can go. I ain't gonna tell you not to go, but I'm gonna be at home. They're gonna be playing house music. I'm good. But I have gone to house parties. I have just to observe because again, I'm a music nerd. So I'm not saying I haven't gone to go to house clubs. I have, so I could watch it myself. You right through the man. That's WeHo music. You know, there's no right. I hear you, Seven Ghost. No, Seven Goose. No, I don't like house music. I just don't. I don't. I don't shit on it. It just ain't my taste. I don't like it. I don't like techno. And techno is an LA sound. Techno and house are both disco derivatives. If you go back before Laylaw and Gomac, remember G-Funk was brought by Laylaw and Gomac. Dre, Quick, and all them, they picked it up from G-Mac and from Laylaw and Gomac. Rest in peace to both of those brothers. It's an honor that I got to know both of them brothers and had some great conversations and smoked some great weed and have taken some great mushrooms with them brothers. Especially Gomac. Gomac always had a sack of weed and some bomb-ass shrooms every time he saw me. Oh, rest in peace, Gomac. But it was Above the Law that brought in that sound. Before Above the Law, techno ruled LA hip-hop. Egyptian Lover, that shit, the Arabian Prince sound, the Ice-T, all that stuff, the Worldwide Wrecking Crew. Dre was doing techno. People don't understand. Miami bass was just LA techno. Remember, Luke didn't make no music. He was the name in the face. Those brothers were from LA. That was LA techno. That was LA techno. Shit, I remember when I was a kid, one of the biggest songs in LA, Supersonic. Doom, 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 doom. That booty shaking music. Doom, 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 doom. I'm probably, being from LA, I'm probably gonna take techno over house. I'm definitely gonna take techno over house. But both are derivatives of disco. Both are derivatives of disco music. And disco is a child of rhythm and blues. You can trace lineage with music. Yeah, Supersonic is a classic track. But LA was techno dominated LA in the early 80s. It wasn't until Above the Law that G-Funk came in. But let me tell you something about that. There's a formula to making people dance. Me and one of my mods in the chat, Reggie Edwards, who be in the chat, that's my homie in real life. We was talking about 1993 if you was in LA, when I wanna rock, when that came out, man, doom, 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 doom. That loop, big booty hoes, all that Luke shit, all that Luke stuff. If you was around when that came out in LA, oh my God. There's a tempo to make you dance. Yeah, that's booty music. We used to call me Luke and JJ Fair, we used to call that booty music. Those booty songs. When you put that tempo, doom, 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 doom. Outkast had one with Bounce Over Baghdad. When you put that tempo there and you put a deep groove to it, people are going to dance. If you notice, the industry stopped that tempo. The industry stopped those songs at 125 beats a minute with at 116. The 129s. Yeah. At 127. That's where Big Booty Hoes was. Big Booty Hoes, I'm booty. Doom, 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 doom. See, black people, we dance between 104 to 130 BPMs. That's our dance tempo. We kind of top out at 130. Even our house music stays back. Other people around the world, they start dancing at 130. They like their music at 140, 145, 150, 160. Because they dance like a pogo stick. Dude, that's why, the reason why house music. Oh yeah, Doo-Doo Brown? Shit, man, when Doo-Doo Brown came out, oh my God. But, see, other cultures, they still get to have their dance music. I was watching some shit with people from India or Europe. I mean, everybody, if you look, Brazil, especially in Brazil, do. They put their shit up at 160 beats a minute and they get to dance all day. But question, chat, what was the last song that you heard at the Doo-Doo Brown tempo? That's about, Doo-Doo Brown's about 127, 129 beats a minute. 28. Bombs Over, be right. Bombs Over Baghdad was probably the last one, Fela Speaks. That was what, 99? When we get culturally, see, what happens is, and this is no disrespect, but this is what happens. I'm drinking a little bit. I'm drinking the old fashioned. So maybe I got a little bit of liquor in me. Do y'all mind if I get a little bit frank with y'all? It's probably the liquor speaking, making me be this, because I probably wouldn't say this if I wasn't drinking. But I'm going to say it. You get all of these metaphysical channels and these so-called metaphysical guys talking music, all right? And music is very metaphysical. But what's the first thing that they do when they start talking music? They be like, you know, it's the frequency. They changed it from 67 hertz to 27 hertz. And when they changed the hertz, what that did was it got to your subconscious and your mind. I mean, like, see, when people are talking hertz and megahertz, and I'm not saying that they wrong. I'm not saying they wrong. But let's tell the truth. Can anybody in here measure a fucking megahertz? Can you really tell? See, the frequency is on 476 and it should be on 357, like the Magnum. That's why you have a 357 Magnum, because the music should be at 357 hertz. And at 357 hertz, it pops off like a 357 Magnum. Okay. And what am I supposed to do with that? Let me break it down to you plain. And again, I'm not saying that they wrong, but niggas be trying to sound way too goddamn smart. See, when the wavelengths have a 0.2 millimeter space between the rise and the fall, it does a lot more for your spirit than when the wavelength has a rise and a fall of 0.67 millimeters. See, they took out, you remember the old component sets? It used to have a level, and it would show on the bottom it'd be green, then the middle would be yellow, and the top would be red, and you can see through your component set when the radio is topping out, and that messes with the frequency in your mind. Let me break it down for y'all. Tempos make you dance. Tempos make you dance. Bands. Bands make you dance. Bands make you dance. 134 BPM in halftime. Juicy J would play around and cut things in halftime. But when you push it up to 135, 100, see if you do it 135 BPMs in cut time, in halftime, 135 divided by 2, what's that, 74, 70, 73, 72, 73? That's what makes you do this. Today's music, the reason why everybody bobbing their head is because it makes somebody bob their head. I gotta put it at, it has to be a mid-tempo beat. But if I keep it mid-tempo at 70 BPM, it can sound churchy. But I speed the time up and cut it in half, it make you do this. But if I put it at 125 beats a minute straight, you're going to dance. Let me give you some examples. Y'all know that song by Shalimar? Get ready. Tonight, we're gonna make this a night to remember. Don't that make you want to dance? It makes you want to dance because, one, it's in major chords. Major chords make you feel good. Minor chords make you feel sad. And it's at the tempo of 116 BPM. 116 BPM is like the LA funk, the California funk tempo, the California dance tempo. Because in California, we cool. We don't want to be up at 127. We want to be back here at about 115, 116. So if a song has major chords and the beats per minute are in the 110 to 130 range, we as black people are going to react and dance to those tempos and those frequencies. One Nation, Under a Groove, that's at about 110 BPM. Funk, the funk tempo, funk will be closer to between 102 and 112 oftentimes. The disco stuff would be at about 120, 130. But when you combine that tempo with a major chord, that's where we dance. I don't give a fuck what the megahertz are, okay? How about this for all you megahertz niggas? How about you just listen to some live fucking bands, all right? That'll kill all that megahertz shit. What's up, Shadow? Find my cash app is $Dewan B1, DWANN B, letter B, and the number 1, Dewan B1 for the cash app. Appreciate it. If I just want to have you vibe out, what's vibe out tempo? Think Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip. They at about 92 beats a minute. Dun, 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 dun. 92 BPM. A little faster than mid tempo, not quite dance tempo. That's something that you're gonna vibe out to. Remember, dance is a reaction to the music. If the people aren't dancing, it's the music's fault. Yeah, 92 BPM is Jay Dilla. What is Jay Dilla? Jay Dilla is the father of what? Lo-fi. That's why people like having lo-fi music on when they like a lot of them Asians and people from you see them other people, they love lo-fi. That's Jay Dilla. That's some shit that you can study to, you can smoke a blunt to, you can kind of do a lot of things to that. You can kind of do a lot of things to that. You can study to that tempo. You can relax to that tempo. You can mostly vibe out to that tempo. Yeah, the Far Side. That's that sound. When a second, go on my first mind and count this shit out. I was verifying. I mean, I like to be right, so I was just verifying. I was verifying. I mean, I like to be right, so I was just verifying. I should have been right. But like that gospel tempo, going back to 72 BPM. Think bands that make your dance, and that's the way of the world are two sides of the same tempo. Listen to bands make your dance, bands make your, that Juicy J. We're talking 134 BPM, which reduces to 72 BPM in halftime. So when you double it up and break it back down in the halftime, that mess makes you bounce. You don't quite fully dance to that shit, but you bounce to it. But 72 BPM straight is the tempo of unity and coming together. Think That's the Way of the World by Earth and Fire. That's the gospel tempo. We come together on this special day. It's a very difficult tempo to play as a musician because there's so much space. Go back and listen to That's the Way of the World by Earth and Fire. What does that song make you want to do? It makes you sway. We come together on this special day because that tempo makes you want to come together in concert. Love's in Need of Love Today, low 70 BPMs. Love's in Need of Love Today. Well, what he does on that is instead of hitting the snare on 2 and 4, they only bring the snare in on 4. And that love, I'm sorry, he plays snare on 2 and not on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 71, 72 BPM. You just play the snare on the 2 and not 2 and 4. That tempo brings you together and it brings you unity. Then if you want to change it up a little bit more and you want to bring people together and write a song that speaks to the heart, you change the tempo from 4/4, the time signature from 4/4, and you put it in 6/8. 6/8 tempo brings people together. It transmits heart energy because the heart beats people go back and forth between 4/4 and 6/8. But the way the heart beats, it beats in a 6/8 time. Like feel your heart. What happens when your heart beats? Your heart does what? That's the kick drum. when you hear a song in 6/8, what you're going to hear is so and your heart does that's the way your heart beats, the double on the kick. And this in the 6/8, and let me give you, if I can give you a song for that, what are some songs in 6/8? You can do, oh yeah, Luther Vandross, Anyone Who Had a Heart. Anyone? Well, the song Anyone Who Had a Heart by Luther, that has a 6/8, 9/8 change. But the majority of the song is in 6/8. Anyone who had a heart would take me and her love me too. It has a 9/8 change every 4 measures. But it's the tempo. If I want to make you sad, make you dreary, make you drowsy, make you, if I want to bring anxiety, I'm going to play minor chords. And the thing with hip hop, the thing that makes hip hop contentious, more so than the words, and don't none of these metaphysical guys speak on this, but now that I'm saying this, I'm sure I'm going to watch a particular YouTube channel in the next few months, and I'm sure some of those guys are going to be repeating this. You can almost book it. But as of today, what's today's date? August 21st, whatever. I ain't heard nobody say this shit. I've been waiting on somebody to say this. When it comes down to tempo, when it comes to the music, the most dangerous thing I think that hip hop brought, more so than the lyrics, is the chords. It's the minor chords. That's the part. And a lot of blues is played in minor. But minor, and that's what it gets from the blues, minor makes you sad. Minor breeds tension. Let me give you an example. And because I be hearing my shit from people who got these faggot ass metaphysical titles and shit repeated way too much, I'm getting very frustrated. Because some of these people know the fuck I am and whatever. They tend to want to just like stay over there, you know? But whatever. I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. The hip hop, let me give you an example of what I mean when I say it's the minor chords that are every bit as dangerous and sometimes more dangerous than the lyrics. Dun 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 dun. Y'all know that song. Fuck them mother niggas because I'm down for my niggas. Yeah, those words are poisonous. But pressure number one, if you've been in a club when that song came on, you feel everything that song is saying before they say a motherfucking word, right? Do you not feel everything about that song before the words come in? Why? Move, bitch. Get out the way. You feel that. You're dealing with minor chords and a war tempo. The drum, the percussive tempo. Dun 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 dun. The rhythm is war. See, we got to remember this. What do what do militaries also have along with guns? Bands, right? Music is played in war. We could be all high and mighty as we want to be, talking about how it's played in church and how it's glory and great. No, there's a duality to everything. Yes, music is glory and great, but music is also the soundtrack to war. Am I lying? Is music not the soundtrack to war? When you watch Jaws, how do you know the shark is coming? Dun, 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 dun. In Halloween, how do you know that? In scary movies, how do you know that Jason's coming? And Mike Myers. Music. The feel, minor chords, stalking tempos. Dun, 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 dun. What does that sound like? If I'm over here, dun, 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 dun. What does that sound like? It sounds like somebody's chasing you or stalking you. Dun, 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 dun. Does that not sound like somebody stalking? So if I go dun 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 dun, what is that doing to you? I talk through experience. I remember when I used to work nightclubs. I did security in nightclubs for during a downtime in my life. Not down, but I was in my late 20s trying to figure things out, and I thank God for this experience. I went from being a hotshot mortgage banker. I did mortgage banking, bought my first house at 23, graduated college, paid my way through cash, had the $70,000 Ollie, then boom, got knocked on my ass. And here I come driving this $70,000 Audi up to nightclub security. And I used to work mortgage when the market crashed in 2008. I would work all day trying to get loans, and I would get some, but I had to work nightclub security at night 5 nights a week. So I was working nightclub security and had my day job to keep my dream alive, you dig? My ego had to find out I had to leave this job and go to do something different, but that's a whole nother story. I remember I had to go work the nightclub security, and working nightclub security is different than going to the club because LA is very segregated. The same nightclub will have Asians on Monday nights, Latinos on Sunday, black people on Tuesday, white people on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. That's how the clubs work out here. That's how the clubs work out here. So we work the nightclubs, and LA is very segregated. Like black people don't go to Asian night. I'll never be at the club on Armenian night. I'll never be at the club on fucking Asian night or even white night. I only go to the club on black night. But when you work security for everybody. You work security for everybody. So I got to see what different people dance to. I got to see what people reacted to. And that song, dun 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 dun. They didn't just play that only on Black Night. White Night played that like, and Asian Night loved that song. Asian Night loved that song. Because they all play hip hop. They all played a mixture of house and hip hop. every night, every race. But other races they'll have quotas on how many black people were allowed into the club. And Hollywood on non-black nights had black quotas. Most of the time, the quota was no more than 5% black. That was generally the quota of 5%. Some places will go 2% unless they're buying bottles. At the same time, black night was the most profitable because niggas bought bottles and hard liquor. Usually, if white people got table service, it was beer. Much higher profit margin on liquor than it was beer. But that's another story. But when that song would come on, dun 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 dun, you knew a fight was going to break out. And generally, black night was always the safest night. Asian night, 10 to 15 fights a night. White night, 4 to 7 fights a night. Armenian night, 20 fights a night. I mean, dead serious. We was just, by the time 10:30 hit, them little ass Asians is passing out from their liquor. They club open early. They be lined up at 9 o'clock. And they doors open 9:30. By 10:30, that club is packed, and they all on a patio smoking cigarettes. By 11 o'clock, they passing out from their liquor because they got little ass bodies and fighting and shit. By 1:30, Asian nights for the most part done. All the motherfuckers gone. But when there would be fights on black night, you can almost guarantee it was gonna happen when that dun 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 dun. You could almost guarantee. I'll be sitting there doing security sometimes. I'm at Club Ivar, and it's a night where it's like you looking around, man, this night don't feel right. Like you ever be somewhere like okay, tonight don't feel right. And that's why I hated DJs that don't understand feeling. Some nights just don't feel right. And you be like, man, something gonna happen. You look over. I worked VIP security, so I was on the steps looking down. You see a little scuffle over there, but nothing happened. Like, all right. It was one of them kind of nights. And this is one of the biggest nights ever I worked security. This is probably the biggest fight, this particular story I'm about to tell you. I'm telling you right now. This was the biggest fight I've ever been involved in. When I say I ain't do shit. When I worked night club security, if you niggas was fighting in front of me, you know what I did? I backed up and called security on my microphone. Like, hey, security, there's a fight right in front of me. I wasn't breaking up shit for no $20 an hour. Fuck you. I wasn't breaking up a motherfucking thing. I was just there in name and face. I wasn't doing shit. But we had a whole bunch of other security guards who them niggas took it serious. And them niggas was looking for fights. So I'm going to let these niggas looking for fights come break this shit up. And I'm going to go home tonight. Because I got work in the morning. Let me go home. Let me go back to my mama's house in my $70,000 car. Because I'm looking and shining. But inside, I know that this is some bullshit. I wasn't about to break up a motherfucking thing. But this particular night, you just felt the tension. And then the DJ plays the song. Dun 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 dun. Nigga, the words didn't even come on yet. Soon as that shit come on, first thing I see, no more than 8 feet from me, this nigga took off on somebody else. They start beating his ass and stomping him out. Some other folks came out of nowhere and started beating them niggas' ass. And then on the other side of the club over there, them niggas started fighting. And I'm next to the DJ booth, and the DJ still got the song playing. And I looked at him, I said, change the song, you stupid motherfucker. Look how it literally like 4 fights broke out, and I was just, oh God, it ain't no goddamn hurts. It ain't. It's even less than the lyrics. It's the chords. It's the rhythms. You react to that immediately. Your body reacts to it. Certain songs. What I mean, not surprised it's LA? Nigga, I done seen that shit happen in fucking Minneapolis. I'm a traveling nigga. Don't get it twisted. Although I'm a LA ass nigga, in my 20s, in my party years, I partied everywhere. I partied New Orleans, Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Minneapolis, goddamn New Jersey, Cleveland. Nigga, I partied in Cleveland, motherfucker. Don't play with me. We black. We black Americans. And we have a common story. Whether you in fucking Oak Cliff or Compton, we got a common story, brothers. I remember being in Atlanta when Laffy Taffy dropped. Ding, 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 ding. And I just remember I was in some club off Peachtree, and it was all wood. If you're from Atlanta, help me out. We talking the 2000, whenever Laffy Taffy dropped, whatever year that was. It was like a 2-story, and it was like an all wood club. It was in a fucking. The whole thing was wood, and the reason why I remember the wood because when Laffy Taffy dropped, I got on that and the floor just started shaking and shit. I was like, I hadn't heard Laffy Taffy yet. My first time hearing it was in Atlanta. It goes down everywhere. But all this stuff matters. Hell yeah, long tea days, Rashawn. Right. I had on a long tea. I'll never forget. I remember what I had on. I had a long white tee because earlier that day, I went to the Lenox Square Mall, and that was my first time in Atlanta. I didn't know about the Lenox Square Mall. I went there because I wanted to buy a fresh pair of kicks. I just wanted to go to Foot Locker, get some fresh, and I ended up getting some powder blue and white Nike Shocks. When them Shocks was out. But I remember walking in, and I'm with my boy. We both from LA. He went, and I see all these niggas looking. I'm like, what the fuck? So I get on the phone. I call a homegirl that I went to high school with. She went to Spelman. And I'm like, Mia, I'm in the Lenox Square Mall. What is this where I should be? She said, nigga, why ain't you at the underground? I was like, man, these motherfuckers. She was like, man, if you don't get your ass out that mall. I didn't know. I got my Nike Shocks and got the fuck out of there. Underground, the tunnel, somewhere. It was somewhere underground, some kind of underground mall. We went to. It was the tunnel. So I don't know what the fuck that shit was called. But the other time I was in Atlanta, I used to go to Atlanta a lot in the 2000s. I remember I was at The one night I happened to go to Body Tap. Y'all remember Body Tap in Atlanta? I went to Body Tap, and Big Boy was happened to be having his birthday party there. I didn't know. Just my people from Atlanta was like, man, let's go to Body Tap. I was like, fuck it, let's roll. We get there, it's kind of slow. Good night. And then out of nowhere, I see Sleepy Brown walk in. I see all these other cats walk in. Killer Mike. And I don't know if no, Killer Mike wasn't there. But I see Sleepy Brown. I see, and Three Stacks wasn't there. But I'm saying all these DeCelo, all these niggas is there. And where we were sitting, they just happened to come sit in our section. And I swear to God, it was at the Players Club. I mean, it was about 50 butt-naked ass strippers that just came walking out as soon as Big Boy sat down. And that shit turned up. We was in that motherfucker till like 5 in the morning. Just random. Just random. A night to fucking remember. That was like my second time in Atlanta. See, Rashawn, we was at Strokers first that night. We went to Strokers first. But Strokers was kind of like, eh. And we left Strokers and went to Body Tap. And I kid you not, that was over 20 years ago. When I got back to L.A., man, I said I could never go to an L.A. strip club again. And I haven't. Only time I've been to a strip club in L.A. in the last 20 years has been if it was like one of my homeboys had his bachelor party there at a strip club. So I went because it was his bachelor party, but yeah. Stars and all that shit was open. I didn't fuck with none of these LA strip clubs after that. Like, yeah, nah. I'm only gonna go to strip clubs when I'm in Atlanta. I'm good. I'll just have the real thing when I'm here in LA. And when I go to Atlanta, that's when I'll go to a strip club. No, the strip clubs are not open anymore here. The black man that owned First Kings and Stars, he got shot and killed on the 110 freeway about 10 years ago. And then the city of Gardena and Hawthorne changed their ordinances just before the pandemic. So they shut Stars, Barbary Coast, all them black strip clubs that was over. I lived in that area over there. Shut them all down. But when it comes down to it, yeah, Stars was lit. But after you go to Body Tap and in Atlanta and Magic City, you can't come back to Stars. Yeah, Just Strip and Bare Elegance on Two Left, and those is fucking ain't nothing but Mexican strippers. But I don't even like strip clubs anyway. That's just, to me, that's just some Atlanta shit. Strip clubs only exist in Atlanta to me. I don't go to strip clubs anywhere. I don't even do strip clubs like that. Strip clubs only exist in Atlanta. If I'm not in Atlanta, strip clubs don't exist to me. Yeah. They only exist in Atlanta. Yeah, nah, Miami King of Diamonds. I ain't never been to that. See, when I go to Miami, I be on South Beach, man. I don't leave South Beach when I go to Miami. I don't leave South Beach, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go to King of Diamonds one day. I'm gonna go to Miami, but every time I've been to Miami, I still haven't been. And plus, I ain't been to Miami since I've been married. I ain't been in Atlanta since I've been married either. Shit, come think of it. Well, I have been to Atlanta like for real quick business, like in for a night and back out. But as far as like kicking it in Atlanta, I ain't been that dinner since I've been married either. What's up, show? Samurai show. But yeah, they but yeah, going back to what we were talking about earlier, like that's what makes music tempo, chords, and rhythm patterns. And I understand rhythm patterns are important. Cause I remember it's like so many metaphysical cats. I remember this is one. I'm not gonna say the name because I still like the channel. I'm not. That's why I'm not gonna say. The reason I'm not saying the name is because overall, I still like these cats. Just do better when it comes to citing your sources. And I remember this dude, one of these metaphysical channels, talking about music this and music that. And then I heard they music. It was nothing but programmed trash. Like, if you're gonna tell a honest to God truth, if you're gonna get metaphysical with your music, you can't use no fucking programmed instrument. You can't make no metaphysical music on no goddamn computer. You can, what's up, Malik? You can maybe record the demo on a computer, but anything metaphysical, man, that shit gotta be live. You need real instruments. You need real instruments to make that sound. And you're not going to get there through a whole bunch of programmed bullshit that's quantized. You cannot have spiritual music that's quantized because nothing in life is quantized. Life doesn't have the perfect, it's not going to be the perfect beat every time. Real music is going to wander a little bit, just a little bit, because life wanders just a little bit. Again, go back to One Nation by Parliament Funkadelic. I remember when I was recording my drum packs, we tried to track out that song. And that shit started like at 116. Then it dropped down to like 104. Then it moved back up to 108. And it settled around like 111, 110. But you don't notice that time wanders because life wanders. But what we were saying about frequency, like, again, I'm not here to say the people that are talking about frequency are wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong at all. People who talk about how many hertz a song is at, they're not wrong. I just think that aspect is overstated. Tempo, chords, rhythm. When I used to play the drums in church, I would practice this. I would see, like, I would just change up my foot pattern on the drums. I would just change up my foot pattern. And my foot pattern alone, I would notice how it would dictate how the people in church danced. Whether I play or straight 1-2. A straight one. If you think of straight 1-2, think of a song like "Remember the Time" by Michael Jackson. Billie Jean. That's a straight 1-2. One on the foot, two on the snare. Duh, ka, duh, ka, duh. It's the reason why Michael Jackson, if you look at his greatest dance, Billie Jean and "Remember the Time" were his two greatest dance songs. When Michael Jackson wanted to dance, he did a straight 1-2. And the straight 1-2, the reason why he was able to make those moves with that was because it gave him space. Because we as black people, we dance between the beat. We dance between the rhythms. And if I play a straight 1-2, that leaves a gulf of space between the rhythms for you to accentuate your dance moves to. Versus if you look at like a lot of your dance hall, your dance hall is dun dun da dun dun da dun dun da dun dun. That's their version of the 1-2. Dun dun da dun dun da dun dun da. Cause all that whining and all that shit that they do in the Caribbean, dun dun da dun dun da dun, that creates the space for them to whine. Off the Wall was 4 on the floor. It wasn't 1-2. Off the Wall was 4 on the floor, like a lot of disco. It just was slower. It just had a slower tempo. Off the Wall was tricky. It was at a funk tempo with a disco 4 on the floor. That's why it's so funky. And that's different than a 1-2. Versus a song like if you listen to a song that has like a shuffle, there's a different dance that goes with a shuffle, and every rhythm, depending on the relationship between the foot, the snare, and the hi-hat. The hi-hat goes to what's going on in your head, your higher chakras. The snare informs the time, and the kick informs what your lower body's going to do. How you twist your lower body is determined by the kick. And based on how these patterns are arranged, dictates your experience with the song. I can't tell you the difference between 420 hertz and 610 hertz, but I can count the BPM of a song without a metronome. All I do is count that shit out for 10 seconds and multiply it by 6, 60 seconds. And there go your tempo. I can use my ear to tell whether minor or major chords are being used. Yeah, tapping your foot is a very important component of your playing. But as a drummer, I can't tap my foot. I got to use my feet to work my hi-hat and my kick drum. Tapping the foot for all the other instruments. As a drummer, I'm gonna need that foot to play Bombs Over Baghdad. Doom, 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 doom. Anytime you hear that foot pattern, do, 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 do. At a tempo greater than 125 beats a minute, black women are gonna shake they ass. Whether it be Doodoo Brown or Bombs Over Baghdad or supersonic. Do, 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 do. That's the black people booty shaking tempo. Sinister knocked that motherfucker out. Sam Magoo said, yes, guilty. Sam Magoo's your woman? Yeah. That's just how it works. You can't resist it. If I get on I would sometimes be a rehearsal, and I would just play, and you would see the women, whether it would be in church or when I played in the world, when the world is what they call like regular dance music. You'd be in rehearsal kind of like while it's a little break going on, just sit back on the drum and start playing. Do, 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 do. The black women in the room, they'll be having a good conversation, minding their own business, and I know where they just be. They get up out their seat, nigga. What? Okay, you're a lady. Okay, but that's just our tempo. And the music industry, the last song that's been released with that tempo was "Bombs Over Baghdad." Now what do? The last what, 15 years? What do? They give you weed, 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 weed. I think that off the top of my head, that sounds like it's about 150 BPMs in halftime. It's probably about 150 cut in half. Weed, 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 weed. Let me check. Well, what's the name of that song? Okay. Somebody go on their ChatGPT or go on their Google and type in what is the BPM, the beats per minute for that song. Weed, weed, weed. That tempo is not going to influence you to dance. I might be dating myself here, but that song was hot in the clubs. My club ears, when that Miss Officer song came, that song was played every night. Late 2000s into the early 2000 teens, that song was played every night. That song doesn't influence you to dance. That song influence you to sit around, pull your Sidekick 2 out, and text. We didn't have apps yet. Those are the Sidekick 2 days. Sidekick 3. And they cut that, say 112, so they cut that in half. That song's 112 cut in half, so we're talking 57 BPM? 84. Yeah, I didn't see no, 87. That don't sound like no 112. That sounds like 80s. That sounds like some, yeah, so I was right about, I said about 150. That's about 160 BPM cut in half. Yeah, it's in the mid 80s. See, at least if that song is at 92, 93, you can vibe out to it. 84, 87, 160 cut in half, that influence you to, that's Bobby Head music. But when I was in my club days, that was being played in the clubs. It wasn't no songs in no goddamn 84 BPM getting played in the 80s. Nigga, in the 80s, they was playing, why you getting funky on me? Tell me why. Somebody look at the BPM of Why You Getting Funky on Me. What's that? About 120 something? Of Why You Getting Funky is 108. That's the same tempo as One Nation Under a Groove. See, black people like dancing to 108, 116, 104, 112, 118. And the rest of the world likes dancing at 140 and up. And that's our influence. But I've been on here almost 2 hours now. I might get the fuck up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for listening. I'll be back on here probably tomorrow talking some shit. But we just got to point out our influence on other music so that when we see other people having a good time, we got to make sure that we remind them that, hey, you know, you got that from us, right? And be very, 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 very proud of that, all right? I'm out.